Good God Almighty!
You can still be a family man regardless. Family men
Nope.
have hoes. Shit, you change.
No, they don't.
Listen, listen.
See there?
Okay, hold
Smash
on.
about to break up the group.
Why? Why you say that?
No, in 2025, them wives ain't going for the talk about it. I don't care if you playing or not. You ain't finna diddy me.
You said Diddy you?
You ain't finna diddy me.
Why would I want to do that?
I know him and Drake, two of your favorite artists.
Sometimes. Sometimes. All right, listen. Tonight, I wanted to do something a little different. I don't know why I wanted to do something a little different, but I did it. Listen, uh, about during the pandemic when the pandemic was popping and you couldn't go outside and you ain't had nothing to do but to be on social media, you know, myself and three other gentlemen kept y'all entertained every Monday just about on Instagram. Where we talked about relationships and things that a lot of these buster ass dudes and men and wannabes was too afraid to talk about. So 2025 is a little different. Climate has changed. I got Mr. J. Christian in the building. What up?
What up? What up?
Got my man Moreo in the building. What up?
What's happening, man?
Shout out to everybody on Instagram. I'm trying to put it together on Instagram. It's I don't know. For some reason, Instagram doesn't like me. But we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. And yes. Got the fellas back in the building. Moreo, what's been going on, man? It's been a while. How you feeling? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, man, I just been chilling back and taking care of family, doing a little business in the background, just kind of keeping it quiet for a while. I learned to keep my mouth closed this time.
Learn to keep your mouth closed this time. I don't know what that means, but okay. Vito, what up? For some reason, Instagram, that's about as good as it's gonna let me get. So anyway, tonight's topic, man, we're gonna talk about something that I feel like we should have been talking about a long time ago anyway. But tonight we're gonna bring it up. Man, we're gonna talk about rejection. Rejection and acceptance. The reason why I picked this topic with you brothers is because we living in society where people don't know how to take rejection and people don't know how to, just be themselves for acceptance. So tonight we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna dive into all right. First question off top. How can reframing rejection as a learning opportunity contribute to personal and professional growth? Jay Christian, what up?
What up? What up? So I'm glad you used the term reframing because that is exactly what needs to happen, man. Like you have to look at rejection as something other than rejection. I mean, let's just be real about it. Like I look at it as when opportunities don't work out or when someone, doesn't want to be in a relationship or, a job, terminates. Any of those things can be viewed as a form of rejection. They can be taken to heart, they can be taken hard, and they can, disrupt your peace, right? But when
Mm,
you reframe it and you look at it as an opportunity, when you look at it as, you know, I didn't fail, I learned what doesn't work,
mm,
you can then have the tenacity and the determination to keep going and to make greater strides and to make progress and it doesn't immobilize you.
Mm. Moreo, you want to add to that?
Well, I mean, one thing about it, man, when it comes to rejection, it's basically an opportunity that wasn't necessarily for you at that time. So I know for me, a lot of my inspiration and motivation was born out of rejection. You
Mm.
know, somebody telling me that, no, we don't want what you got, or we don't think it's good enough, and things like that. And for me, I don't know what it was. It was something that, God just put in me, and it was like, okay, well, if you're not gonna give me a chance, I'm gonna give myself a chance. And all the way down to relationships, same difference. If this female didn't want to talk to me, okay, well, I put my attention elsewhere. It ain't have to necessarily be into another female. It could be into whatever it was I was working on before she piqued my interest. And so I think it's always a healthy energy for you not to take being turned down or being turned away or even being left out of something. Use that as fuel to keep you motivated to work on whatever your vision is for yourself.
Absolutely.
Nah, we ain't doing that, dog. For me, I hear both of you brothers, and I listen. I hated being rejected. I don't give a fuck what it was. For me, I'm gonna use that rejection as fuel. All right,
As you
fuel to
should.
fuel to let you know that you got me completely messed up, and I've been rejected. Listen, I've been rejected by dudes that I know I was better than. And I
Mm.
ain't just talking about just better as in money and things like that. I just knew like I was better than you. Like in
So you got
every aspect. Like there was
so you
no
got
way.
so you
Hmm?
got rejected by dudes.
No. I got rejected for dudes that I knew
Oh,
that I
okay.
was better than. Pay attention,
Oh,
man.
Oh yeah,
So
no. But you said bye the first time. But now that you say it like
no.
that, it makes
Okay,
far more sense. Okay.
yeah. Like I just knew like I'm better than this. And it's like when I look at it, I'm like, there's no way you think this dude is better than me. There's just absolutely no way. Even with jobs, it was like, there's just no way I gotta. We decided to go with more qualified candidates. And then I like go in the store, just so happen to go in the store and there's some lame ass, goofy ass dude that y'all gave this position to that don't know what the fuck he doing. So I've experienced rejection and I laugh at that shit now because it's like y'all know how the saying is you get rejected and you run into somebody 10 years later and you the rejectee is feeling good because you feel like you made the best choice because now looking at it you dodged the bullet. I done had a few of them moments to where like, oh yeah, I'm so glad you rejected me. I'm so glad you turned me down now because your life ain't what you thought it was gonna be when you turned me down for this motherfucker. So now you want to come try to do a how we call it a spin the block. Now we not doing that. Nope. Stay your ass over there where you at. But I want to say this: rejection can also make you better. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about it. And the reason the cover art for this is so crazy. Uh, I chose the Severely Yours, what up? I chose the Forrest Gump and Jenny for the cover art. And it's a reason why I did that because if you think if you think about how many times my man's got turned down and then all of a sudden he just became like the greatest human being ever. Like Forrest was everywhere doing everything. So I think like rejection is fuel because sometimes all it takes is that one person to tell your ass no, and then it gets you in the mind frame of, all right, I'm gonna make this shit happen. I'm gonna do this shit. I'm gonna get this done. You said I couldn't do it. Cool. I'm gonna show you. I'm better than this. I got you. So, Moreo, let me ask you, what was something that you really, really, really desperately wanted, and at the time you didn't get it? How did that fuel you and motivate you to be to be past the I can't, or you're not going to get this, or now? How did you bounce back?
Well, um, one thing I learned, I can't even say I learned it from somewhere,
Mm,
is that if I'm doing something, if I'm working on something, working on those details, like I'm sure Smash, I'm sure Jay, y'all record constantly. Some stuff that ain't even out. Um, One thing I learned is no matter what, keep working on your craft, keep on going. So what happened was that it was before I wrote my first book. I
mm,
I started looking around and just doing research. And when I
mm,
was asking around, like I couldn't get any straight answers. So finally, I found a publisher that was asking, don't no matter who you were, they said, hey, we want whatever it is. We're looking for all genres. And you had to send in, I think, like the first two, three chapters or something like that. So I'd already had like 10, 12 written, based on what they were asking for, even though my book wouldn't didn't necessarily go in chapters. So I
mm.
sent it in, and they said, "Sorry, we're not looking for what you got." I was like, "So y'all looking for everybody but me?" So I was like, "Okay, cool." And at first, I was like, "It's kind of messed up because you said everybody." Well, I kept writing and kept writing and kept going. I said, "Okay, well, let me figure out how to do this myself." And so when I went back and I did the research, I got with a good friend of mine and got them writing and everything like that. Once we put everything together in like 6 months, what would normally take, I say like at least a couple of years or so to get done through the whole process, through me continuously working on the craft anyway, when the opportunity came, I was able to put the book together in like 6 months. I designed the cover, the layout, excuse me, all that, and we got a chance to release the book at that time, and it did pretty good. It still, trickles down every now and again. So the biggest thing when it comes down to being rejected is don't stop doing what you've been doing. Have some parts of it you're always working on, because you never know when that opportunity might come up, and you don't want the opportunity to come and you're not prepared for it. Then you don't have it. You know you're going to be
The
rejected
distance. What
because you're
up,
not even prepared for it.
Jay? What you thinking? What was a turning point that rejection kind of put you on track to be better than that situation?
Mm. Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you though. The entire time my brother Moreo was speaking, I was thinking because I'm like, okay, well, what example am I going to pull from my life, right?
Mm,
And there are so many that I'll just say this, bro. There has never been anything, and I mean anything, bro. I'm not even exaggerating. There's never been anything that I've lost or that I was rejected, situation where I was rejected that things didn't get better or work out better. Like even to the smallest things. If I lost a house, I always got a better one. If I lost a woman, I always got a better one. If a job rejected me, I always got a better one. You
mm.
understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I can honestly and truthfully say that there has never been that I can remember right now a situation where I was rejected and it didn't work out for my betterment in the end.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the truth,
Well, I
man.
can, well, I can dig that. I mean,
Styles, what up?
I mean, the thing about it is that's ultimately what it amounts to. Because I mean, you're looking at like we've all said, is fuel. Because at the end of the day, whatever it is that was the rejection part of it, it's not the opportunity for you, because it's not the opportunity for you to be a part of, but it is the opportunity for you to see what you need to do for yourself. Like how do
Yeah,
you put yourself in a better position? And if it was a female, in our case, you're looking at, okay, well, all right, well, that's your loss, and it's not so much as it's their loss in a negative sense, because they might just not be interested. But if
Mm,
she ain't the one for me, I'd rather not even be in that space with her either way.
absolutely.
And if you talking about like a situation where you thinking it's something that's gonna further your business, your vision, or something else you're working on, that's just gonna push you to be like, okay, well, what they would have done, what can I do to keep me getting closer in case I run into the right person, or in case I run into
Mhm.
myself and realize I can handle it myself.
Listen, man, there was a sponsorship. that I was in pursuit of at one
Mm,
point for my podcast. And,
mm,
Yeah.
you know, for whatever reason, these people were like, "Hey man, we don't want to do that," you know. Now, mind you, they reached out to me,
right.
kind of like
Right.
what Mario said, right? But they didn't reach out to me for the sponsorship. They reached out to me to put the CEO on my show,
Mm.
the CEO of the company. It's not a small company, man. It's a big company. And I actually did the episode, but he didn't follow instructions and he didn't have a mic, and the episode was trash, so it never saw the light of day. But my point
Mm,
is this: I said, "Hey, I'd like to partner with you for this right here," and they said, "Well, what are your numbers on your latest episode?" This was a few years ago. You know, my numbers weren't bad, but they weren't what they wanted to see. So they said,
Yeah.
"No, we gonna pass on that. We ain't gonna do that." I said, "Okay, cool." You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because just today I found went through the Cognac Room podcast email,
mm,
which I need to start going through there a lot more frequently. I've got about partnership offers, and then I also had gotten the BetterHelp podcast partnership. I mean sponsorship or
mm,
partnership, which, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man, has been way more lucrative than that other partnership would have ever been.
right.
Yeah.
So, that's just a prime example of. But I think it's very important that when we face rejection, we don't internalize that because,
Yeah.
like I said previously, it'll keep us from moving forward. It'll cripple us.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to, like you say, we have to reframe that thing. We have to look at it differently and say, it's not a no. It's not really a no. It's a not right now. It's not really a I'm not good enough. It's like this ain't meant
Mm-hmm.
for me. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a perfect fit. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie. I took a lot of things to the heart. And sometimes when things don't go your way, you get frustrated, you get pissed off, you get hurt, you get upset, and now it's F the world and everybody in it because you feel like, man, I gave this everything, I gave this my all, I really wanted this, and it didn't go the way that you wanted it to. It's like an audition. It didn't go the way that you wanted it to, and now you look back on it like, yeah, listen, I had a few jobs that I felt like I was wrongfully let go from, and or you know what I'm saying, and in no time at all, something better came along. You know what I'm saying? I'm in that position right now. I got fired from a job that I was at for damn near 3 years. And it was a stupid reason why they let me go. And they on the way out, they really tried to slander my name. And it's like, all right, cool. So I was without a job for like 2 months because I just wasn't gonna settle. I wasn't gonna settle. And this was during the pandemic. And I just wasn't gonna settle. Like, I know my worth and I know what I'm able to do, and I know what I bring to anything that I'm putting myself in. And now I ended up with the job that I have now. And I've been at this job for damn near 3 years with better pay, better hours, and more freedom. I'm able to do stuff like podcasting from the job and stuff and not having to worry about getting rolled up or nothing like that, as long as they don't catch me. But I just feel like sometimes when doors get closed in your face and you really just feel like, man, that's really fucked up. And then you got a million questions. And how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna get this done, how I'm gonna do that. You got a million questions now. And then if you just stop and breathe, don't hold a grudge, whether it's a person, a place, or a thing. Don't hold a grudge, because holding grudges doesn't do anything. And again, I remember getting my heart broke by women that I liked, women that I actually cared about. And then down the line, they ended up getting cheated on, or ended up getting lied to, or ended up getting played. And so now I just sit in the cut like, yeah, that's what you get. But now I don't even do that. I just be like, oh, okay, well,
Yes, you
cool,
do.
good riddance.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
Huh?
do. Yes, you do.
Not all the time. It's a few.
Yes, you do.
It's a few in the cut right now. You know what I'm saying? That I ain't gonna say I pray on, like I pray something bad happens to them in they new life situation or nothing like that. But it is some people out there that I just been like, yeah, I know I wasn't shit. I know I would have fucked your life up. I ain't gonna cap to you. So you may have got a blessing in rejecting me because I knew I would have fucked your life up.
Well, I mean, another thing to remember though is if you really focused on what you're trying to accomplish, you
Mm,
really don't have time to look back.
facts.
Like there may be some things that come up that remind you of some, or you may cross paths with certain things or different things like that,
Josh,
but
what up?
you really don't have time to figure out why someone didn't want to be in that space with you.
Yep.
You because I mean at the end of the day, honestly, even with relationships, I'm married, and those of us who are in relationships, you got to have that focus. But when
Severely
you're
yours.
not in a
Appreciate it.
relationship, when you got a vision, you got something you're trying to work towards,
Mm,
I would advise people to work towards that vision first, because at the
yeah.
end of the day, when you do actually get with somebody, that's in hopes that they're gonna appreciate the journey you on to handle your business, trying to do what you're trying to do. Because even another driven person sometimes has a hard time understanding the drive that another person has towards what they're doing. And
Yeah,
too
yeah,
and
what
too
up?
many times, what we'll do is we'll try to get people passionately to look through the lens that we have, and it's just not possible because what we're trying
Mm,
to do, we were given that vision and we're trying to make this happen. So when it comes to relationships, not necessarily just being rejected, but let's say, you end up not being with a person because of who you are, what you're trying to accomplish. That's when you kind of do a little bit of self-reflection, not necessarily internalize all of it, but do a little bit of self-reflection. Say, okay, well, how was I? But if you know that you put what you could in it, then you ask yourself the question, was I even ready to be in that space with somebody? Because that ain't fair to you and it ain't fair to them. So let me move over here where I can get what I need done, because otherwise I'm wasting everybody's time.
mm-hmm. Mind triggers, what up? All right, so look, right. One thing that I don't want people to get twisted when it comes to rejection is sometimes you gotta acknowledge it. You gotta acknowledge it without trying to avoid it or without trying to deny it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take that shit head on. Like, all right, it wasn't your moment, it wasn't your time. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool, Tommy. What up? It's cool to go through rejection and actually, you like I said earlier, use it to get better. You might listen, you ain't always gonna get told yes. And I think that's what people, that sense of entitlement has to stop. You aren't always going to get told yes about everything that you want, that you desire, that you need to have. Sometimes it might just be a sign telling you, all right, it ain't time for this yet. It ain't time for it. Go back to the drawing board and redo it. See, one thing you don't want to do, like I said earlier, is get mad and take it out on others that ain't have shit to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Because now you never know who's watching you. You never know who's paying attention to you. And you spazzing out and you know what I'm saying? You miss a lot of opportunities by spazzing out because that's showing me, oh yeah, I can't put no money behind this person. You know what I'm saying? I can't put that's like, you know what I'm saying? You didn't get the job you wanted and you go knocking shit over in the job because you didn't get the job, and now somebody out there that saw you that possibly could have gave you a job, you just fucked it all up. My man Tommy said, don't take it personal and control what you can control. Facts. Like, everybody ain't meant for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. You might have thought this man or this woman was the finest thing in the world, finest thing you ever seen, finest thing. You just gotta have them. It wasn't your time. You know what I'm saying? You can't. I hate when people, feel like, yeah, everything is meant for them to have. No, you got to get out there and you got to earn that shit. All right, so look, right?
True. I
Why
always
why do you think that we live in a world where we just have to do whatever to be accepted? Like, why do you think people have such a hard time taking rejection?
mm,
You want to take that one first, Jay?
I didn't hear it. What is it?
I said why do you think people have a hard time taking rejection? Like why do you think they just have to just have their way, and for somebody who's never heard no, why do you feel that is? Is that a learned behavior, or is that just something that they were born with?
Yeah, I believe it's human nature, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe that it is actually human nature because even
Moreo,
as
what
a
up?
very young child, when you want something and your parents withhold it from you, they won't let you put your hands on it or whatever. What do? You cry. You get upset. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because I think innately there is something in us that says that if you want something, then you should be able to get it, which isn't a bad thing because that's how greatness is spawned. Like that's how people become great, right? Because you want something, you figure out a way to get it, you learn the pattern, you keep doing it. So I believe that we're designed that way intentionally, but I think that a lot of us we just misplace that. You know what I'm saying? And then of course our parents and people don't help um, when we're young and they spoil us and give us everything we want, and then now we get used to people telling us yes, and then when somebody says no, it's a problem. But to answer your question, man, I believe that we are definitely that's we're wired that way from day one.
Mm. All right, my man Tommy said before I let Mario, he said control issues or the fact that they take everything personal. This is true. Cause like I said, I had a grudge on my shoulder from a lot of failed relationships. Like I hated the world at one point. So that's why I'm able to speak on it. Like, and my first reaction was, all right, so you played me for this dude. Every time I see him, I'ma fight him. Plain and simple. I'm on
That's extreme.
I'm on go mode every time I see him. Like, just because. And he ain't even had nothing to do with it. But the fact that he didn't know that we was in this secret competition for this job, and that's with this woman, every time I see you, I'ma fight you. I don't care who you is, who you with, I'ma fight you because now it's personal. I took that personal. So Jake, Moreo, Beautific, what up?
That's the thing, though, man. Because the crazy thing is, let's say, take the guy out of it.
Take the
One of
guy
the
out of it.
take the guy out of it. One of the
Okay.
things we do in relationships is when we first meet a person, we'll tell
Mm,
ourselves that we're gonna be completely who we are. They're gonna accept us for who we are, so on and so forth. Now,
mm,
that may be in our heads, but at some point, whether in the beginning or somewhere down the line, we start to see what angers them, what makes them happy, what makes them smile, and we try to become more of that. We try to do more things that cater to their happiness, their smiles. What would make them, like Jay was saying, get me what I want?
mm.
Because what happens is, even though you're not trying to do so maliciously, what's happening is, okay, well, man, I can't act like this or this. She don't like that, or I can't do this and that. She don't like that. This gonna get on her nerves. So you start thinking about that, and so you become that. So what happens when you're rejected? Now add the guy back in, because I guarantee there was some level of rejection before this guy came into the picture. You start to notice some things, even though you don't realize that's what you're actually looking at. You know the feeling, you got an idea. So now you're trying to figure out what's what. So when you realize, oh, it was a guy, now you pissed off. But
Yeah.
when you really look back at the relationship itself, we do a lot of things to be accepted by the person we're with the same way we do in society. Once you realize how you got to dress to get that job, how you got
Yep.
to sound to get that job, how you got to
Yep.
sound when you're at work, um, when you're with certain friends, like you don't sound the same way with each and every associate that you have. You sound differently when you get around females. You sound differently when you get around, people who go to church all the time. There's always this way where you want people to see that there are different sides of you and you want to be accepted across the board.
Mm.
It's only when somebody tells us, "Oh, you just trying to be accepted," that we get offended, but that's really the textbook definition of it. And there's nothing wrong with it because you need to know who you're talking to, how you're talking to them, because whenever you're in that space, you want them to hear you. Well,
Yeah.
how do you get them to hear you? You gotta get to where they are, meet them where they are. It's not a above or below. It's a this is the space they're in. Now, if you want to be in that space with them, this is what you have to do. Otherwise, don't be upset when this is what's accepted in that space and that's not who you are. Remove yourself from it.
Yeah, but isn't it like a don't that whole fake it until you make it? Doesn't that kind of fall in with that though? Like you faking who you are to be accepted into something because you want it that bad, so you're willing to
It depends on the
change.
intent. It depends on the intent though, bro. Because the thing is, if I'm trying to get this job,
Mm,
I know what that entails. It's not me changing me, and I learned this in college. I learned this from my oral communications teacher. And you got to get up, you got to talk to people. And
mm,
all of us have been in those long meetings or long presentations that lose us. And the one thing she put emphasis on was speak to your audience. So if I want this job that's going to pay me for my skills, then out of the research I've done, I know how they dress, how they move, what arenas they in, what it's going to take to get what they got.
mm.
So if that's where I want to get to, then I need to understand how to be versatile. It ain't always about being fake. You got to understand it's more to your personality than just how you kick back with your shoes off at home. And a lot of times we confuse being fake with being more versatile and
Right.
understanding more about who we could be
Mm.
versus how we are with the homies, or how we are around wherever we are outside of professional setting. Because the thing is, and the same people who will say something about somebody being fake are the same people who will come up to you and want the hookup. They'll be the same
Mm.
people who coming up to you and they see you got a business and they want you to be less about your business when it comes to giving them discounts, but then they'll still trash your business if you give them shitty business.
Yeah. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
people who have never met you in real life that will support you harder than the ones that you know in real life. Like I made a post the other day. You got people out here that will spend $1,000 when you start a business just because you start a business and they like how you do things. And then you have your homies that you've known your whole entire life wanting free shit, not putting into the business. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that is a sign of the company that you keep. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned a long time ago, if I have to jump through hoops and I have to change who I am or downplay who I am to fit in, I'd rather not. I'd rather
Absolutely.
not. Cause I ain't gonna
Absolutely.
be happy after a while. You know what
So
I'm
here's
saying?
the
That's
thing,
what
man.
that's what relationships too. Like I never came in and pretended to be the good guy. You know what I'm saying? I never came in and pretended to be your knight in shining armor and the dude that sweep you off your feet. Nah, all these other dudes out here is finna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you exactly why I'm here. I'm gonna tell you exactly why I'm here, exactly what I want through the door. So there's no confusion. See, you got
That's
enough
cool.
dudes.
But here's the thing, Smash. Here's the thing. Check it out. That's cool. But what I'm hearing you say is the only tool I have in my toolbox is a hammer, and I'm gonna try to use that hammer on every goddamn thing. Like
Absolutely.
that ain't how it works.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so here's the
but
thing. So here's the thing. Here's the thing.
talk
Like
about it.
it's not even being fake or phony. It's literally highlighting different aspects of who you are as a person. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? That's all it
Yeah, but
is.
I'd rather
You're
I'd
saying
rather
you're
just
saying you're basically saying, okay, my rough edge that ain't gonna work in this situation. So I'm pretty smooth. I'm pretty cavalier. I'm a pull that. I'm gonna draw on that part of who I am. You understand what I'm saying? It's not even about being phony, and that's the thing too. Like when I talk to some of my clients, they're like, "Well, what you telling me to? You telling me to be?"
I don't know what happened. What happened?
He went out real quick.
Um, Not even that. Like, look. If I have to listen in any atmosphere that I'm in, I have to be me. Jay, you still there? I have to.
Yeah, man. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I had a call come in, but no. So what I'm basically saying is, I've had clients say things like, "Well, what are you doing? You asking me? You're telling me to be fake or to be phony?" I'm like, "Nah, man. Nobody's telling you to be fake or to be phony. But what I'm telling you is, there's more to you than just jeans and a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so you have to get in tune with other parts of who you are. You have to highlight those at different times. You're not being fake. What you're actually doing is saying, hey, there's more to me than just this.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, I got a great one for you. And just to reiterate what Jay was saying,
Mm,
it goes back to where you come from, how you were raised or not raised. Because if you're only given one side of the coin, if you're only given one type of picture, one type of lens, then that's all you're gonna know. So anything
mhm.
outside of that is gonna have people saying, "Man, where you from? What do you
Yeah.
represent?" Because like here's the thing, like I got two boys, right? And my two boys, they love their track suits, they love their sweatsuits, their J's and all that kind of stuff.
Mm,
Well, well, my youngest son used to be the hardest one to get to keep to put on a button up and a blazer for church. I'm like, his lip poked out, and soon as the pastor said "Amen" at the end of the service, his shirt is out, jacket's off, it's all in the truck.
facts.
Well, well, recently, he started saying, "Daddy, I want to wear ties." He hated wearing ties. He started wanting to wear ties and all that kind of stuff whenever he goes to church. Now, outside of that, he gonna put his sweats back on, all this other kind of stuff. But then he's like, when he'll ask me different questions about other things, both of them actually. And my oldest boy, he got on his little rugged little thing for a little bit, but then, he got himself together real smooth one Sunday, and he's like, "Man, I like this." That's always been a part of his personality. So it's different sides to it. You just got to understand you don't always have to be one way because we're not
Yeah.
always one way when we're in private. We just got to stop thinking that we got to conform or buck the system when it comes to being in public, because at the end of the day, when we get to different arenas, we don't want to go in there thinking, "Oh, we just gonna be this, that, and the third." Like he said, you can't
Mm,
go in there with the hammer. You got to go in there and be able to be versatile. Like Smash, if you had the same kind of guest on your show every single episode, it would suck. It would absolutely suck. It would be
facts.
boring. So you want different sides of it. You want different personalities because there are different thought processes you have to go through what you've gone through. And see, even in that relationship where you first got in it, you may have gone in and say, "Hey, this is who I am, whoop de woo, whatever, whatever."
Hmm.
But the first time who you are pissed her off, you lasted long enough to say "I'm sorry" at least once. And
See,
and if you gonna go into it
I don't.
unapologetically, ain't no "I'm sorries."
I don't have. Listen. No. 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 Hold on. Cause look, I had to learn, and shout out to Beautific. She said you too comfortable to switch gears and step your game up. No, absolutely not. This is why I'm where I'm at now. Because okay, 21 to like 30, I lived unapologetically. I didn't care. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I didn't care. Wasn't no woman gonna get close to me. I wasn't gonna allow you to be next to me because sometimes rejection doesn't always have to be from the other person. It could be from you. You could be the one doing the rejecting, and you couldn't get close to me. I didn't want you close to me. It wasn't gonna happen. I'm here for a good time. I'm not here for a long time. I'm not here to build with you. I'm not here to tell you you beautiful. I'm not here to buy you roses every day. I had relations with women who I didn't plan on being with, but because I liked the things that you were doing, I kept you around a little too long. And some of them I ended up having kids with, and I really couldn't get away from them. So now I might as well embrace it, kick my feet up, and chill because I like it here. Now, the problem with that is you get comfortable and then you start enjoying something that you had no intentions initially enjoying, and then you feel like this is the life. I'm getting the milk for free. I ain't gotta buy the cow. I'm good. I'm living. I'm loving. And then you wake up one day and they done got tired of your shit, and now it's like, whoa, how the fuck did we get here?
But that's just it though, man. You looking at you going into a situation. You changed you. in that situation, because the only way you end up in situations like that is if you go in with just no focus on nothing outside of just that type of agenda. And you can't go into I don't care what the relationship look like. If it's just for a good time, you go in there like that and you end up getting caught up, that means you lost focus. How we lose the host? Jay.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. How how we lose the host? I guess he gonna explain all that later.
Exactly. Exactly.
I feel like we hanging out at his crib and he just left the house.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. That is definitely what it feels like.
I wish my boy Arce had jumped in the mix though.
Yeah, man. Arce told me, you know, he not recently, but just when he left podcasting, man, he said he's done, man. He's done. Yeah.
Guess we just gonna have to be in the same vicinity just to be able to chop it up with him real good.
Yeah, I think that he's focused on home and family,
Yeah.
so he's kind of stepped away from he stepped away from the microphone for a while, probably indefinitely, but
I
or for
should have
good.
told him. I should have told him, hey man, go ahead and box that equipment up and send it on over.
I'm gonna tell you
Definitely.
that I did because at that point it feels good. And then I grew up. I grew up and I had to learn, bro, that ain't how relationships work. It's gonna take both people. It's gonna take both parties to put it in together. So, okay, acceptance, right? You ever wanted something so bad that you just accepted whatever came with it, and you didn't necessarily know what came with it, but you was gonna accept it anyway because you wanted it that bad?
Well, I can I can definitely say yes to that, and you don't even have to say I didn't know what came with it. I I've been deep in a situation where, matter of fact, job and relationship wise,
Mm,
where I mean, there was one time I got cut all the way down. It's like, man, in my mid 20s maybe. I was cut all the way down to no, I take that back. I was 30 plus. And I got cut down to like 20 some hours, but I was like trying to stay loyal to this place because I'm like, man, I've been here, I put in the work. I know if I stick it out, something might happen. And
mm,
it was like at every turn, I'm getting turned down for promotions and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm the most dedicated cat they had there. Rain, sleet, hail, or snow, I was there. This is when my car was down and all. And
mm,
everything that came with it, like I knew that the supervisor I had or the person who was over the whole business was racist, but they needed somebody that was going to work, and I was willing to work, and my circumstances called for it. So I was like, I couldn't quit, but I knew within me at that time that I needed the job. Well, waiting it out, eventually I got promoted, so on and so forth. And the guy that kept kicking me back, it was out of his control. Well, then when I got to that position, well, they found a new way to quote unquote reject me. And then somewhere down the line, they end up letting me go. Now,
mm,
there's another form of rejection. This is after years of me being at the job, improving myself, getting several raises, everything. And after that rejection, fast forward, like you were saying about your gig now, that experience ultimately led to me being in the position I am today, even though it was almost over a decade or so ago. And that's the thing about rejection and acceptance. Like
mm,
you can be rejected in a situation, but I always tell people who work under me or who work for me, however you want to put it, I tell them you may not want to be here, but right now you need to be, and while you need to be, make your money. Handle your business. Do what you need to do until something better comes along. And it's not saying that you got to kiss anybody's tail. You ain't got
Mhm.
to do, you don't have to do X, Y, and Z, but handle your business while you're here. So that way, when you leave, you don't burn a bridge. So sometimes it's acceptance, depending on what your focus is at the time. Other times is you understanding what needs to be done to get the job done, so you can keep your name clear and let everybody else suffer the smoke that they cause.
Jay, what about you?
Can you repeat the question, please?
I said, what is something that you know that you just gotta have? Like it was something that you just had to have. You were willing to go above and beyond to get it just because it was that important to you.
Mm, mm. So this is gonna sound crazy, but I would say it was a marriage, man. I went
Yeah.
above and beyond in a marriage. I tolerated a lot of shit that I shouldn't have. Like nothing crazy like cheating or anything like that, because I'm still free. But I'm just saying, like, like, um, there's a lot of crazy stuff, man. Like, bad attitude, bad money, poor money management, you know, toxic behaviors, wanting to argue and fight and shit. And for the sake of not wanting to fail at marriage, I was tolerating that shit, and I wanted it so bad, and I just was like, I'll put up with the bullshit. And
Hmm.
then, I woke up and I was like, you know what? Fuck you and them kids. You know what I'm
Wow, so
Hey,
you went hard
listen,
in the paint.
listen. Hey, I know what you feeling, man. I wanted marriage so bad that I took everything that came with it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I know that it wasn't good for me and I know I wasn't good for it, I wanted it to work because that's what I signed up for. So when it didn't go the way that it was supposed to, I don't know. I kind of felt like a sign of relief, but then I kind of felt like a bit of sadness with it too. So, as a person, you want to be loved, you want to be accepted. So you go through things that you normally wouldn't tolerate, you normally wouldn't accept it, you normally wouldn't, even put in any effort. Because it's something that means to you. I feel like this. People don't really put in the effort into things until it's they feel like it's damn near about the end. Like they feel like it's almost about to be out of grasp, like it's finna get took away. And then that's when I think people start accepting shit that they normally wouldn't accept because they don't want it to be took away. You know what I'm saying? If that make any sense. Like we know it's over, we know it's about to be over. So it's like when you get caught cheating, right? And you good for them 2 or 3 days. You around the house more, you working out, and you trying to be all good and shit. And then it's like, all right, cool. Now once you get back in that comfortable space, all right, man, I'm finna go fuck up again because you stayed. You accepted what I did. I accepted what you did. You stayed. All right, we gonna be cool for a little bit, and then I'm gonna get right back to what it was.
saying?
Well, I mean, when it comes down to that, it goes back to the initial part of our conversation. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you focused on
Mm-hmm.
in the relationship, like all together? Because I mean, the thing about it is, like when you at work, you at work. When if your job or whatever it is your vision, is your actual passion, what you want to be doing in life, you're focused on being the best you can be at it.
Yep.
Then if you're not if you're not in your passion, then if you're at work, that's work, and then you have time you set aside for your passion to be the best at it, to get the best equipment, to get the most knowledge, to get the most experience, to handle your business. Then when it comes to your family, you're focused on that, to do everything you can to, because you only got so much time in a day every day. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing those three things every day, you ain't got time to be over here, because if you putting time over here, you're not just taking time away from your family, you taking time away from your vision, your passion. So you completely off focus. So them 2 or 3 days after you get caught, if that don't help you refocus on what you need to focus on, you ain't just gonna lose your relationship. You're gonna lose time over here, And even if you felt like you had a reason to do what you did, you're still going to look back and be resentful of, man, I spent all this time doing this when I could have been doing this. And then what do you do when you're trying to get over a failed relationship? You find something new to do. So when you finding something new to do or to get into, now you still taking away from this over here. The only part that don't really suffer is your job. And your job is not even where you want to be.
Yeah, I was a big advocate for to get over some vajayjay. You got to go get some vajayjay. I'm not a big advocate for that no more because you might run into some trash for JJ or some for JJ that's not what you used to. And yeah, so I'm not an
Or a
advocate for
kid
that. All right.
or another
I'm a big
kid.
advocate for if you run into a problem in a situation where you break up, give yourself some time to heal. Because I'm gonna tell you from 21 to like 32, uh, I was never single. You know what I'm saying? And I had got my heart broke. I had broke some hearts. I had did a whole bunch of things, and I never allowed myself a time to heal. And so there were probably people out there that were willing to love me and willing to know me and willing. And I said to hell with that. I don't want you nowhere near me. I'm not gonna allow you to get close to me, bro. So I probably heard a lot of people in those days that probably look back now and just like blame me for the reason why they go through the trauma and the pain and why they can't get close to nobody because I couldn't get close to them. So I just want to say, man, rejection. I'm not afraid of it. I used to hate it. Like, like sincerely, I used to hate it. I used to hate being rejected. I didn't care what it was. You know what I'm saying? From a kid on up. If you told me no, no, you can't get no chips. No, you can't go outside. No, you can't spend the night at your girlfriend's house. No, your girlfriend can't spend the night here. No, you can't go hang out with the fellas. No, you can't do this. No, listen, I hated it because all it was gonna do was make me rebel. You tell me no, I'm gonna do the opposite. So I had to learn that. I had to learn that you're not gonna get everything you want 100% of the time, especially if it involves someone else. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? If they're holding the cards, you ain't gonna get told yes 50 million times. I don't care who you is. Even in marriage, my brother here is married. I can guarantee he don't get everything he want 100% of the time. Do you?
I don't.
And vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So even in those situations, man, you just gotta bite the bullet and work through it. Don't run from rejection. Embrace it. Honestly, it'll make you strong in the long run. Moreo, talk to me, man. Like, okay, so you got rejected. You willing to do whatever to be accepted because in the end you feel like if you play your role you're eventually gonna get to where you need to get to. You didn't get that promotion the first time. All right, cool, come back in 6 months. You gonna try it again. What are some things though that you're doing in the meantime? And that applies to relationships, that applies to life, that applies to everything. Like, what are some things you didn't get it this time? What are some things that you can do to make
Well,
sure, like, I ain't get it this time. I ain't get her this time. I ain't get the job. I ain't get the house I want. I ain't get the car I want. What are some things that you can put in play to make sure, like, the next go round is different? Because you ain't gonna quit after being rejected. I'm gonna tell you, human
no,
nature.
not at
So
all.
what are some things that you know of that'll help next go round?
Well, first and foremost, I don't move without praying first. That's always my first thing. Like where I'm at now in life, I don't take rejection the same way, and I don't search for acceptance. So with me, and it is not to put myself up on this pedestal. It's that I've learned that number one, I got to pray about it. I got to ask for it, make my request known. My
Mm,
next thing is when it comes down to being rejected, I don't get that job. Okay, let me see why I didn't get it. Let me see what I need to do. And the first thing comes to mind, that one wasn't for me. Either the
Right.
position wasn't for me, the company
Mm.
wasn't for me, um, or I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Because what we tend to do is, if we're not rejected, we stay. We get complacent, we get comfortable.
Yep.
And and the thing about it is, what if we're not supposed to be in that space? Because once we get rejected, that lets us know either we need to take a step back and look at some things. Because if I'm not getting this house from a spiritual standpoint, I'm like, well, maybe that's not the house for me, or maybe I need to get rid of some things before I get into that house.
Mm.
So let me set that to the side. Now, when it comes to a relationship, on the acceptance tip, if things are not going my way, I have to look at myself, and it's not so much as what am I doing or not doing to get what I want to get. What space am I in, and what do I really need to be focused on? Because if the relationship is going to stand, it's going to last, it's going to stand without me having to force it. And I had to learn to stop trying to force things that are
Mm.
not, that I have no control over. So that's why I go right back to pray about it, and then let me see what I need to do on my end. Because the first thing we do when we're rejected, if you're inside of the relationship, we get upset, we get frustrated. We look at things from a angry standpoint. Woe is me, what about me, kind of situation. And for me, the best way I got to look at it is, let me let me not change me because something didn't happen that I thought should have happened.
Yeah.
Because that it changes you into something that you don't want to be. But in that moment, sometimes when we're angry or upset, we sit in it long enough, we feel like that's what we want to be, and we really don't want to be that. So instead of me trying to, allow myself to change into that, let me reevaluate, let me get back on what I was getting on. Because in the relationship, maybe there's a quiet time or space that's needed for me to really meditate and see what I need to do, regroup and keep going. Because you got to take self out of it and realize everything ain't about you. And when
Facts.
you realize everything ain't about you, you realize there's no reason for you to be out there trying to just be accepted. Because if you present your best self in the best situation at the right time, you won't have to necessarily be accepted. That's the space you need to be in. Because all keys don't open every door.
Yep.
So you being the key that you are, you're for a special door. So whenever it's the job or the relationship, it's going to unlock all the possibilities that are there. Everything else is just you working to make sure you maintain what's there and keep growing in the process.
And I think too, a lot of times too, what people need to understand is rejection is going to happen. You're not always going to be accepted with everybody and everything that you do in your life. You're just not,
Absolutely.
So that's, I think once you open the doors to being told no, or, whatever, you're not the person for this job. Okay, cool. Accept that and figure out phase two. You know what I'm saying? Don't harp on it. Yeah, you might have wanted that job. You might have wanted that person. You might have wanted that house. You might have wanted to get into that school. You might have wanted all these things. And you got to realize that you ain't going to always get it, but that don't mean stop working.
Absolutely.
That don't mean give up. That don't mean bury yourself because things didn't go the way that you wanted to go. Man, head up, chin out, man. Like don't ever feel down on yourself or feel like you insignificant or you're not good enough or it wasn't, that's not how it's supposed to be. Listen, take that L and figure out how to turn that into a win next time. It's gonna happen. There's an old song.
Absolutely.
At first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Like, don't ever feel like all hope is gone. Like it just wasn't for you. That wasn't your moment. You know what I'm saying? You know how many times I've had situations that I feel like I lost out on and I feel like I was good enough for, and 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, it came back around to me, only it came back around better. You know what I'm saying? Only I came back around
Absolutely.
better. I wasn't the same person I was 4 years ago. I might not have been mature enough 4 years ago for that situation. So sometimes I got to look back and be like, all right, cool. I dodged the bullet. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the
Right on.
day, I wasn't ready. And sometimes that's what it takes. You got to look in that mirror and be like, yeah, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. It is what it is. Now, I come back, with marriage. I wasn't ready my first go round. Is there all hope lost and all this? Will I not do it ever again? Nah, I ain't gonna never say I ain't gonna never do it again. But I know that this next go around, I'll be a lot more ready. I'm not gonna say I'm a master that shit, but I'll be more prepared because I know what to expect. I've been there before,
Yeah,
and one thing about me, I'm not going to put myself or bury myself or be something I'm not to be accepted just because I want it that bad. If I want it that bad, then you gotta the want has to want me. You know what I'm saying? I'm selling myself too. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just about, oh, I want this so bad. Nah, sometimes you got to sell yourself on. That's the reason why you at this job interview. That's the reason why you're dating, because you're selling yourself too. You're selling yourself on how good you can be and what you bring to the table and how. So you're selling yourself too. So don't ever feel like, all right, well, I just got to be good enough for them. Nah, they got to be good enough for you too. That's that job. That's that relationship. That's that business. That's whatever. They got to be good enough for you too. Listen,
absolutely.
Moreo, tell me what you got going on in store for you, good brother, until the next time we do this, which will be soon. Talk to me.
Man, I am right now. I'm still kind of ironing the kinks out of a few things, man. Just like I said, I would to clarify what I said earlier at the beginning of the show. I learned to move in silence a lot more. Um, in terms of different things I'm working on. It's not to be secretive or anything like that, but I got some things I'm fine tuning, things I'm praying about. Don't don't get me wrong, I'm excited to share it with everybody, but these are definitely some things that I'm doing my part to do the leg work on. And I've been doing a lot of work on myself just to improve upon some things and relationships, which is why it was important that I got back together with you brothers, man, because I feel like I feel like the show brought out a lot more of us. It showed a different side of us. We got a chance to hang out a little bit, give our
Mm,
perspectives on some things, and that always fed my spirit something positive. And so it's a lot more of that I'm trying to nurture and foster and plant seeds on. So a big part of me is doing that right now. And man, getting ready for the seasons with my kids. My kids are real involved right now. I got a daughter that's in the theater right now, so she's doing some acting and singing. My youngest boys are both playing sports right now, basketball and football. My two oldest girls they're working, so they out of my pockets a little bit.
yeah,
So a big thing with me right now is just a lot of family stuff, man, and just making sure like you brothers, man, staying in touch with people, checking on people, seeing how they doing, checking on their mental and emotional states, because a lot of us brothers, we don't always do that. And unlike some of these other relationships with people, I can say we have each other's contact information, so we can
yeah,
tap in with each other offline, and this ain't just a for show thing. We actually, talk to one another from time to time.
for sure.
So, but man, this has been real dope for me. But right now, it's family and a couple of little pieces moving in silence right now for me, man.
All right, for me, right? Y'all already know. I'll explain all this later. Next episode is coming out. We gonna be talking about the 90-day rule and my thoughts on that. You know, um, gonna be real different because y'all wouldn't expect how I'm a address that topic because I'm a big advocate for I ain't waiting no damn 90 days, but it's deep and it's dope, man. I've been in my own. I had plans on how I was gonna do this season, and it did not go the way that it was supposed to go. But for now, I'm loving it because I pivoted a lot quicker than I did last season. So a lot of these episodes are coming out the way I want them to come because, and I guess because it's really just me lately. It's been just me. So that's how I've been tackling it. New episode will be out Tuesday. That's gonna be the new drop day, Tuesdays. You know, And other than that, man, listen, Measure Men, like I said, I started that show with my brothers in the middle of the pandemic. And you know, we had a little thing where we'll pop up every Monday on Instagram. So we're working out a date to really, really come back. But I said tonight, if I was gonna have a conversation, I need to pull them out the woodwork. So that's what we doing. I try to go live with y'all, just live 2 or 3 days out the week, just to get up with you know, just because I got a lot of shit to talk about. So all right, listen. New episode, like I said, it'll be out Tuesday. I appreciate y'all, man. All y'all feedback. Tell a friend, you know, get back at me, let me know. Give me. You can always send me topics. You can always send me questions. You know, you give you my input on questions and topics. Like I said, new episode coming this Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday instead of Monday.
That's
And
the deal.
yeah. Listen, I catch y'all when I catch y'all, man. For my brother Moreo, he'll catch y'all when I catch y'all. Y'all already know what it is, man. And listen, if y'all don't know about Measure Me, y'all can go on my YouTube page. You can catch a whole lot of Measure Me on my YouTube page. I got a playlist already of Measure Men content already on my YouTube. I'm gonna leave the link at the bottom of this video when it's done and over with. So yeah, we got some shit. We got some work put out there. All right, y'all.
Absolutely. Peace.